cold wind sliced through the narrow alley just before dawn, carrying the sound of distant traffic and the faint hum of the city waking up. A young boy stood against a brick wall, his back hunched and coat too thin for the morning chill. His name didn't matter. He was known simply as the kid who ran errands for the corner store and chased stray basketballs on cracked pavement when no one was watching. He had never asked for much beyond a hot meal and the chance to keep his little sister safe a few blocks away. He heard a cry, muffled by the hum of cars, and felt the hair on his neck stand up. Something was wrong. He slipped from the wall and crept toward the sound, careful to stay in the shadows. Heart pounding, he rounded the corner and saw her. A woman, face bruised, clothes torn, collapsed against the dumpster. Her designer coat lay discarded on the wet ground, and she clutched her midsection as if the pain would never stop. Two men leaned over her, their voices low and threatening. She was a stranger, her features unfamiliar, but to him she was just someone who needed help. Without thinking, he dropped his backpack and charged. "Hey, leave her alone!" he shouted, voice cracking. The taller of the two turned, surprise flashing in his eyes. They both stared at the skinny boy with arms too long for his body. He felt fear surge, but something deeper pushed him forward. He raised his arm and swung his fist, raw and untrained. It connected with the taller man's jaw, and the thug stumbled. The fight was quick and messy. The second man lunged at him, but he ducked, grabbed a discarded length of pipe, and swung. It clanged against metal, and the man yelped, retreating. The taller man regained his footing and came at him, swinging wildly. The boy felt pain explode in his shoulder as a punch landed, but he pressed on. Adrenaline blurred everything. He swung the pipe again, this time connecting with the man's ribs. The thug dropped to his knees, gasping. The boy turned, fear finally, breaking through as he saw the woman's face inches away. She stared at him, eyes wide, blood dripping from her lip. She flinched at the sight of the pipe. She thought she recognized him. He was the kid who sold candy on the corner. She had seen him before. Now she watched him struggle to catch his breath, his small chest rising and falling, his wool hat soaked with sweat. "Are you okay?" he whispered, voice trembling. She nodded, tears mixing with rain. "Thank you," she managed. He helped her up, though she was heavier than he expected. She leaned on him as they walked out of the alley, her coat slipping from her shoulders. He wrapped his arms around her, shielding her from the worst of the chill. He told her his name wasn't important, only that he was there. She closed her, eyes resting her head against his shoulder. She felt safe. They reached a street lamp. The orange glow illuminated her face. He studied her eyes, blue, sharp, full of intelligence. He realized she was someone important, someone different from anyone he had ever met on his block. Her dress was expensive, her shoes scuffed from the fight. She noticed his worn sneakers, his patched jeans, and the tattered jacket he wore. She gave a small, sad smile. "You could have gotten yourself hurt," she said softly. "You didn't have to do that." His shoulders quivered, but he met her gaze. "I couldn't leave you there," he replied. "No one deserves that." She swallowed hard, glancing down. "I'm not sure how to thank you." He shrugged. "You can just go home safe. That's thanks enough." She pressed a cold hand to his cheek and looked him in the eye. "I wish I could repay you." He shook his head. "Really, I'm fine. You should get help." Her gaze lingered on him. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. She placed a business card in his hand, fingertips brushing his palm. "Just call me if you need anything." He looked at the card, confused. It read, Rachel Warner, CEO, Warner Global Industries. A private number for emergencies. He stared at the bold letters. "Why would you—" The sirens drew nearer. She hesitated, then whispered, "Because you're worth more than you know." The police rounded the corner, lights flashing red and blue. He slipped away, slipping into the crowd before they could see him. She watched him go, tears catching in her eyes as she realized she might never see him again. Days passed. He went back to selling candy, his ribs still sore but proud. He didn't call the number, he didn't need anything. He was just a kid surviving, doing his best. Then, on a drizzly Thursday afternoon, a black sedan pulled up to the corner store. The doors opened. A man in a crisp suit stepped out and approached him. "Are you the boy who helped my boss?" the man asked, voice calm. The boy nodded, heart pounding. "Yeah. I'm looking for Rachel Warner," the man said, glancing around. "My car's parked illegally and I need to move it." The boy tried to hand him the car keys he didn't have. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. "Open it later," he said, "and I promise, when you call Rachel, she'll be there." The boy watched him walk away. He looked down at the envelope. Inside were 2 tickets to a private school, tuition paid in full for the next 4 years, and a letter from Rachel. She wrote about the boy's courage, her promise to help him pursue his dreams, and her hope that he would never doubt his worth again. He felt a lump form in his throat. He walked home clutching the envelope like a treasure. He opened the letter, under the dim light of his living room. His sister peeked over his shoulder, eyes wide as he read. Tears rolled down his cheeks. "Why are you crying?" she asked, concern in her voice. He looked at her and smiled, the kind of smile that broke through years of fear. "Because someone believes in me." The next morning, he boarded the bus to school in a crisp uniform he'd never worn before. He pressed the envelope into his jacket pocket. He thought of Rachel's whisper, "You're worth more than you know." He repeated it like a prayer. Each day at school felt different. Teachers greeted him by name. Classmates asked about his life. He excelled in math and science, fueled by the promise of a future he had never dared to imagine. He made friends, joined the debate team, and rediscovered laughter he'd misplaced on those cold streets. Meanwhile, Rachel visited from time to time, checking on his progress. He saw her at a scholarship gala, across a crowded room, and at the company headquarters where he toured the offices, wide-eyed. She introduced him to her team, called him a genius, and told him his mind reminded her of her younger self. The years blurred together. He graduated high school at the top of his class. He received scholarships from prestigious universities. On the day of his college graduation, he looked out at the audience. His sister sat in the front row, her face beaming with pride. And there, next to his parents, sat Rachel Warner, tears in her eyes. She mouthed congratulations. After the ceremony, the boy, now a young man, walked to her. She hugged him tightly. He felt the familiar warmth of her encouragement. "You did it," she whispered. He pressed his forehead to hers. "I did it because of you." She shook her head. "No, you did it because of you." He smiled. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "For everything," she winked. "Just remember, when you see someone in need, don't walk away.